Hi YouTube! My name is Emily. I'm a hairdresser, I'm a wife, I'm an aunt, I'm a dog mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a granddaughter, and I also have cystic fibrosis. Now, for those of you who don't know, cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease that affects your body's ability to create mucus and your body secretions. So in turn, your body gets full of mucus, your lungs, your pancreas, your sinuses. It affects every organ, and it makes it very hard to cough up everything, and your sinuses. It makes it hard to flush out mucus, and all that mucus ends up creating infection, and the infections can live in your sinuses, in your lungs, in your GI tract. It just kind of affects everything. Now, most people with CF get diagnosed at birth or before birth. In my case, I wasn't diagnosed until I was 18 years old. So for me, what that meant was I was very, very sick once I was finally diagnosed. So let's take it back to when I was first born. I've seen my baby book before of, like the first couple doctor's visits, and in it says, wheezing, sick, lung infection, all that stuff. And it was just put off as, acute illnesses. I'm gonna give you these antibiotics and she's gonna get better. So that's how it was for my whole life. I would have trouble breathing. I was coughing up green mucus. My earliest memory of that was the first grade. So, I've been struggling really bad with it for years. I couldn't keep up with my friends at school, like physically. I just was always trying to catch my breath. And I would get really bloated and distended in my stomach after I ate. I remember going to Carvel one night with my grandparents and getting a chocolate milkshake and feeling so full and in pain that I thought like maybe the ice cream was bad. I didn't know what it could have been, and for a while I didn't get Carvel or chocolate shakes because I was so scarred from feeling so ill from it. So fast forward to 2011. I'm working in the salon full time. I'm also in college full time, and I wake up on Easter morning and I'm sitting on my bed trying to catch my breath. I felt particularly bad that day because up until that point I was very sick, but it happened over time so slowly that my body just started to adapt to it. I just started getting slower and slower every day, that it wasn't very noticeable. So it's Easter. At this point, I'm very, very underweight, and that was noticeable to everyone. And I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was just, living my life normally. So I'm sitting on my bed, catching my breath. I'm like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta get ready. We were spending the day with our family. It was Easter. I can't walk 10 feet from my bedroom to the bathroom. My mom and sister come in and they look at me, and my mom's like, we are taking you to the emergency room right now. So I go to the emergency room, and I have a PA that's taking care of me. And she asks me, how I'm feeling, what's going on. She's thinking I have pneumonia, which is very common for me. I would get pneumonia like twice a year. So she does a chest CAT scan, and she's like, wow. She was like, have you traveled? Have you traveled out of the country? And I was like, no. And she was like, your chest CAT scan is so bad. She was like, it looks like you have tuberculosis. And I was like, what? No, that can't be right. I haven't been out of the country. She's like, all right. She's like, I'm going to give you these antibiotics. She was like, if you're not better in a week, come back here. Come back to the emergency room and see me. I was like, okay. Week later, as you can imagine, I only got worse. So we go back to the ER, we see her again. And she, oh my God, she is like an angel, this woman. She saved me. So I see her again. She does another CAT scan. And she's like, wow. She was like, this, you got worse. She was like, you're on antibiotics. Like, I'm just so confused. So she sits with us and she's asking me like these very lengthy but thorough questions about my health history going back to when I was a kid. And she was like, I can't tell you this. These were her exact words. I can't tell you this without the proper testing, but you have cystic fibrosis. And I just remember bawling. I didn't even know what it was, but I remembered learning about it in 9th grade biology, and I remember it being this deadly childhood disease. So that's the only thing I was thinking of. And I'm bawling. I get myself together and I'm like, okay, what is this? And she basically gives me this big packet on it and the symptoms and the treatments, and I'm looking at the symptoms on this paper and I'm like, yep, that's me. Yep, oh, I got that too, yep. And then I was like, wow. I felt relieved, like this weight had been lifted, because all these years, they didn't know what was wrong with me, and I finally had an answer. So she's like, we're gonna admit you. We're gonna give you hardcore IV antibiotics. Let's do a PFT, a pulmonary function test, and see where you're at. I'm blowing into the thing, and my lung function's in the low 20s. And she was like, yeah, this is years of going untreated. She was like, I don't know how this has happened, but you're not leaving this hospital. So I'm like, okay. All right. So my mom and I, we stay, I think I was there for about a week. And then I remember the nurse, she was so sweet. She hands me another packet at the end of my stay. And she was like, I just wish you the best of luck. Like, you know, just take care of yourself. And she knew what this meant. She knew what the rest of my life was gonna be. She was just so sympathetic and empathetic. And I remember looking at her like, wow, this must be bad, because she's so sad. She's just so sad. And you know, at first I was relieved, and then I get home and, you know, my grandparents come over, and, you know, my aunt and my cousins, and they're all like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, you know, I have such a supportive family. And I'm like, yeah, you know, this is what it is. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, I guess. And it didn't really hit me until I went to work. And now I had this dream job of mine, right? Working in the salon. And it was a great salon, great people, great boss. And I'm at work and now I'm mad. How the heck am I supposed to fit this disease into my life? I'm building my career now. I'm at the top of my game. I'm making money. I bought my own car. You know, all my other friends are in college and I'm here like doing it, you know? So I was angry for a while. I would sit like this doing my treatments, like just, so mad that I had to wake up an hour early before my already busy Saturday at the salon, you know, just breathing in this stuff, taking all these pills, 5 pills with every meal just so I can digest my food. But it was working. I was putting on weight. My lungs, it was very hot and cold with my lungs. Like I would feel better and then I would get sick again. I was getting admitted into the hospital every 3 months for IV antibiotics. Now you have to remember, I've had all this infection in my lungs since I was born, right? So I have a lot of years of bacteria and infection and scarring that I have to really try and break through and get out. So I was admitted quite often. My boss was amazing. He had a loved one who had a chronic illness, so he got it. You know, basically he said to me, whatever time you need, and you come back when you feel better. If you need to take a week off, you take a week off. If you need to take a day off, you take a day off. He was very good, and I'm so appreciative of that, because without him, I would not have been able to hold a job. I wouldn't have been able to do what I love. So it gets to a point where I'm in and out of the hospital so often that they put a port in my chest because my veins were just so tired of the needles. They just couldn't handle any more IVs. So I actually have a portacath right there. And it's basically just like this little guy, and the tube goes down right into my bloodstream. So that, you know, gave my veins a break, and it also allowed me to get IV antibiotics at home, so I didn't have to actually go into the hospital, because when you have CF, you don't really want to be in the hospital because of all the infection and the disease. So if I was sick enough but also well enough to manage it from home with a home care nurse, that's what I would do. So they'll come, they bring me my medicine, they put the needle in, they set me up for a week, and then, you know, me, my mom, now my husband or my sister will help me manage, you know, every 6 hours, every 8 hours, whatever it is, hooking me up. And that's how it was for a while. And then I'm sitting in class one day, because I also went to 2 years of college, and I'm in my chair, I'm listening to my lecture, and all of a sudden, I lost my breath, and I got this pain in my chest, so bad, and I was like, what the heck? So I stood up, I sat up, and I was able to take a breath, and I was like, what was that? Like, what the heck was that? So I'm taking a couple breaths, I calm down. I'm like, okay, that was weird, but I feel okay now. I sit back, and it happened again. And I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here, I need to get home. So I leave class, I get in my car, I drive home. I'm feeling really tired, but I just really didn't want to go to the hospital. I mean, every 2-3 months I was there, I was so tired of it. I'm like, no one was home, luckily. I was like, okay, no one's here to witness this. I'm just gonna lay on the couch and I'm gonna sleep it off. So I am sleeping, I wake up, and it happened again. Except this time, it was like, every time I tried to breathe, there was a thumping in my chest. I was like, okay, this is new. I'm emailing my doctor. I'm emailing her, I tell her everything that happened. I get an email back right away. Go to emergency room now. I was like, okay. I go to the ER, my sister drives me. And I'm like, I have CF, I have chest pain. They take me right away. They take an x-ray. My mom comes in. She was like, your lung is collapsed. I guess, you know, the doctor had told her before they came in to tell me. And I'm on oxygen, and I'm like, what? But I didn't even do anything. I was sitting in class and it just collapsed. Now, they can't really say for sure of why that happened, but I mean, you put the pieces together. I'm so ill, and it's just been all these years of no treatments, and, you know, my lungs were tired. They couldn't do it. So they admit me, and I had to get a chest tube. And up until that point, that was the most painful thing health-wise that I've ever had to experience. And I was actually there with my uncle, because You know, in the hospital, it's like when you need to get a procedure done, there's never an exact time, especially if you're admitted. They're like, okay, you can't eat from midnight on, and it could be like 2 o'clock the next day that you get this done. So my mom had already, at that point, she had taken off so many days from work that I'm like, just go to work, like, you know, whatever, whenever they take me, they'll take me. I'll call you and then you can come, you know? So they take me up to the ICU, and my uncle had gotten there to come visit me. He's this big, tall, you know, big guy. So he leaves the room so they can come in, and I'm alone, and I was fine with that. But I'm freaking out because, you know, they're like, okay, so what we're gonna do is make an incision in between your ribs. We're gonna take this big tube and shove it in there, drain whatever's in there, and your lung's gonna reinflate. We don't know how long it's gonna have to be in there. It could be a couple days, but your lung will pop back up, and then it's kind of gonna stick to the wall of the lining of your lung, so it's not gonna come back down. So I'm like, okay, like, I have no choice, right? So tense the entire time, right? I'm so tense. They do it. I'm like kind of in and out because they gave me like, you know, something to calm me down. And my uncle comes in. The doctor finished, but he was still in the room. My uncle comes in, and I'm like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. And the doctor comes over, and he's like touching my stomach. He was like, well, I know you don't have a 6-pack. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, touch your stomach. And it was like a rock. He was like, you need to relax, like calm down. I was so tense that my stomach muscles tensed up. And so my uncle, you know, he's this big guy. I'm laying on the bed, and he like lifts the small of my back up to try and stretch out my stomach. And I'm breathing, and it worked, and my stomach relaxes. And then the pain in my side is just like searing. It's like, whoa. So I finished that stay. I get through it, and it was pretty okay from there on out for the rest of that stay. It was really hard to move around. I couldn't shower. I could barely stand long enough with that tube in me to wash my hands after using the bathroom. You know, it was rough. I remember they had to give me morphine, and I remember, oh, that poor nurse. I just projectile vomited from the morphine. I didn't even know it was coming. It was just so fast, and good thing no one was in front of me. I just puked all over myself. And the nurse, she was so sweet. I was still on the children's side at that time, even though I was technically an adult. She just came in, changed my clothes, cleaned me up, and it was hard. It was hard. But I leave that hospital stay, and I get right back into the groove. I'm working in school, you know, doing what I gotta do. And my lung collapses again. Yeah, happened again. So, sitting in my doctor's office, and my doctor at the time, she was a straight shooter, you know? She's like, so you're gonna keep doing what you're doing, going down the path that you are, and you're going to kill yourself, or you're gonna stop working, and you're gonna focus on your health and get better. And I was like, well, I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? I'm like, I really don't, I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing, you know? It was hard. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop working. I'm gonna focus on my health. And that's what I did for a couple years. That's when the port was placed in my chest. That was 2013. My sinuses ended up getting really bad. I needed sinus surgery, and that was very painful. And then I just had a second sinus surgery in 2018. And it's been a rough road, but there's a lot of new medications out for CF. I'm on one of them. It's called Trikafta, and it has turned my world around in the best way. I mean, every 3 months of IV antibiotics, you know, hospital stays, surgeries, so many things. I ended up getting adrenal insufficiency because I was on so much prednisone. My body just stopped making its natural steroid. So there was a lot going on. But actually, from the time I met my husband in 2014, I really started to improve. And he had a lot to do with that because he kind of swooped in and he was a breath of fresh air, and he kind of made me realize there's more to life than CF. And I was able to get back into living because I wasn't living for so long because I was so focused on trying to get better. So from 2014 on, I was feeling significantly better. But the last 2 years, I really feel like I have my life back. I still have CF, I still have to do my treatments, I still have to take my pills, but I'm working again. I have my own salon. I'm really doing it, and I'm really managing my health, my disease. And if there's one thing I want people to know is that no matter what life throws at you, whether it's financial, stress, a health scare, a diagnosis, a death in the family, like, you can overcome anything. I'm living proof. You can overcome anything. There's nothing in this life that you can't figure out how to manage, you know? And it's all about perspective. And I know that sounds cheesy and easy. It's not easy, but you have to wake up every day and you need to find something that makes you happy, because happiness is a choice, okay? Nothing tangible and no other person can make you happy. You have to find it in yourself every day. And that could be, you know what? I'm waking up today and I don't feel good, or I'm waking up today and, you know, my loved one just passed, but I'm gonna go to Starbucks. I'm gonna spend $6 on a latte, and I'm gonna enjoy every bit of it, and I'm gonna lick the foam from the top when I'm done. Even if it's something so small as a cup of coffee, you need to find that, because once you start doing that, every day gets easier, and you can find more and more things in life that bring you that joy. And then one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, man, I did that. I got through that. And I'm such a better person for that. And I was really able to pull myself out of that funk, or I was able to pull myself through that thing. I was able to find the light at the end of the tunnel, because there is a light. And it's all up to you. And it's all up to the thoughts that you're putting in your head and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. It all matters. Because like I said, you're gonna look back at that time, that hard time in your life, and you're gonna be like, wow, I'm so glad that I was able to get through it. And I know so many people who, you know, have been through so much. I mean, we all do. We all go through things, you know? It's not just me. And we just need to be, we can't be our own gatekeepers, right? We can't keep ourselves in a box. We can't keep ourselves in a negative headspace. You know, it's up to us. We're the ones that hold ourselves back from stuff. Because if you have determination for anything, there should be nothing, no person, no circumstance that's going to stop you from doing that thing, getting through that health scare, getting through that tough time in your life. If you have that determination, nothing's gonna get in your way. You might have to change your path or strategy, but you're gonna make it work. Because I did. And if I can, at 18 years old when my life was starting, and I had all these plans, if I can make it work, you can. And it might take you a while. You know, I had to put my plans off for a couple years, but here I am now. You know, I'm past all that now. I went through it all, and I was able to just every day work through it. And at times it was like, oh, this is never gonna happen for me. I'm never gonna get better. I'm never gonna go back to work. And I did it. And here I am. I'm feeling so good, and I have my own salon. In August, it'll be 2 years that I've been working again, and I have new clients coming in every month. And you know, once you get through all that, you just become a more authentic person. You become a happier person, and you attract that back to you. And it will come back to you. You just need to hang in there, put in the work, and just find that happiness every day. Find it. I did. You can. See you next time.